Hello. I'm going to be playing some Yume Nikki. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I haven't played through it in a little while now, but I've been thinking about it a decent amount lately. A while ago we played the 3D remake that came out, I guess, probably a year or so ago now. And the whole time it just made me want to play this more. So I'm kind of curious how much I'm going to remember from when I've played before. It's a game that kind of has lingered in my mind a lot, but only in an abstract sort of way. And that I feel like I can remember a lot of the things in it, but not necessarily maybe how they connect, or small details of it. So if you don't know Yume Nikki, it's a landmark kind of cult independent game that really birthed an entirely new genre of games, typically made in RPG Maker, typically looking quite a lot like this, where the object isn't to go out and fight a dragon lord or a demon lord or anything like that, but just to wander around and explore. So right now it doesn't seem like we can do too much, right? This doesn't go anywhere. This door doesn't open. We just shake our head at it. We can turn on the TV, but it's just this test pattern. Not a whole lot going on there. Our desk is where we save. That was a little disturbingly laggy, but I'm hoping that's not a big deal. This is the Steam release of Yume Nikki 2, which is interesting. Before I had always just downloaded it as like a standalone executable, or downloaded as like a thing for RPG Maker. So I'm a little curious about like kind of things that they've added to it. Here they've kind of taken away some things. I'm pretty sure it used to have like the full default RPG Maker menu, none of which like did anything. Here you can play Nasu. This looks like a little updated compared to how it looked in the original version. Nasu, of course, meaning eggplant. So we're jumping for the eggplants. Yes, yes. This is, you can tell why this has been such a cultural phenomenon, inspiring not just this recent 3D remake, but another kind of blitz. Oh, so I lost. There was, a few years ago, there was another kind of blitz of merchandising around this where a manga was written and a light novel, and there was a bunch of merchandise. And I thought all of those were like all right, but again, all of them just kind of made me want to play the game. I think the game is a much more perfect experience. The only kind of supplemental material that's come out of it that I've enjoyed is remixes of the soundtrack. So I don't know, but the sound effects in the soundtrack in this game are so far and away amazing, and the sprite work too. Like there's so much just love and talent that's been put into this game, that I think even if the gameplay really turns you off, even if you don't see the point of it, or you don't really particularly jive with the aesthetic, you just have to respect it. Like even just in this room, this kind of beginning little area, there's just so many little attention to detail things. Anyways, enough dilly-dallying. We've spent 4 minutes now. I guess we can get into the actual game itself. So you go to bed, because Yume Nikki, of course, means dream diary. And the game plays out entirely within your dreams. And here, the soundtrack has already emerged. I don't really know how to... This is maybe good levels. You can see the game console is gone. And TV just displays things like this. There's a lot of kind of motifs, visual motifs in the game that recur. A lot of these sort of like tiling, almost MC Escher-esque patterns you'll see all over the place. They kind of have like a sort of tribal feel to them too. And then here, oh, never mind, we got the no instead. Interesting. I wonder if we can do the double sleep. No. Alright, we might as well just head into the main area. So this is kind of the hub. Oh yeah, so I was going to say, you see a lot of these sort of tiled things, and then you'll see the same figures broken out of their sort of tiled motif and stretched out like this, which I think is really interesting. So we're going pretty slow right now. Probably the first thing we should do is try to find the bike. And I can kind of remember where it is. I'm just not quite sure what door takes me there. Again, there's a bit of lag, which there's really no reason for this game to lag. Alright, this area looks pretty cool, but this does not have the bike in it. I'm 90% sure. Maybe it's this one? No, I think it might be this one. We're looking for an area that has... It's kind of similar to this. Actually, it might be this one. So this is a pretty good representation of the overall art style of this game, which is just insanity. No, it's not this one. And the kind of detail and normalcy of the more domestic areas or the more slice-of-life-y type areas, just like her bedroom, really highlight like how absurd this stuff is. You can hear them making little noises when I interact with them. How about you, my friend? Ah, good. I think these guys are really cute. They kind of remind me of the Pikmin enemies. But yeah, we'll come back to all these places. I'd just like to get the bike first. No, this one is pretty nightmarish, I think. The numbers that are everywhere here, it just kind of... If you kind of think of this game as exploring kind of different areas of the mind, different things that the mind notices or obsesses over, different subsets of kind of the sensory world that make larger or smaller impressions on you. Maybe it's this one? So doesn't it seem sometimes like there's a part of your mind that's just constantly churning through numbers? No, this is not what we want. That's a real spooky one. Is it this one? Ah, yes, it's this one. So I remember that the bike, you just come out of this area and go due left for a little while. And then once we have the bike, I don't really have any other specific goals right away. The knife is useful to find. It gets you into a lot of areas because you can start stabbing things and getting things out of the way. Alright, so there's the bike. That's our first effect. So we go into the effects menu. And now we go, I think, about twice as fast. So let's check out this area some more. I think there's a few other places we can get to from here. I really like the tiles that make noises, and the way that they're making drawings and stuff. Like, you can see this is like a big face, I think. But then walking over them kind of produces like a sound too, or a song as well. And like, depending on the way you kind of try to move around it, you can make kind of new music. There's one that doesn't seem like it makes noise. This one? I don't know if you can hear that. It's just very quiet. It's just sort of like a muffled sound. I'm not sure what this thing in the background is. It kind of looks like a cell to me. You know those like diagrams of cells? And this game is amazing too, that like, you know, the theme of this area is of course the tiled floor and the noises. But then you're just given these entirely huge spaces with just absolutely nothing, so that you can kind of take a look at the background and stuff. There's another happy face. Oh, these weren't in the previous one, these kind of green ones. That's a nice sound. There's a nice rumbling bass underneath it too. The combination of the Earthbound-esque boing and that low rumble. Oh, that's really nice. Ooh, what is this one? So this is where we came in, and then we had due left, and then we went down a bit. So maybe we'll head do right. I find in this game you start almost playing by superstition. That you just start to feel like you have a sense that it's like, oh, maybe there's something kind of like north of here. Alright, so we did a whole loop. It's not that wide horizontally. I feel like we haven't gone up here. But yeah, you have no real basis for thinking that a certain path will lead you to something, or heading... Oh, this is like the first kind of big structure we were looking at. Yes, this more like angry face. I don't know, maybe there's not anything else here. For some reason I thought... I can remember there being like a big hand. But let's just go back out. We can always come back if it seems like there's more we need to do. Let's go here. I don't know what this one is at all. Ooh, this is a kind of dark one. I think these puddles are fantastic. The fact that the puddles reflect what looks kind of more like a photorealistic sky, I think is so cool that potentially if you just looked up, it would be like the real world or something, you know? But you only see it in these splashes. I think kind of the idea of looking top down. It's a little lamppost. You can turn it on. Let's just leave it on. I don't know. I wouldn't say this game necessarily has puzzles, but it does have things like that, where it'll turn out later that we were only able to see something because we turned all of these on. So are these just due right left of each other, I think? Okay, there's the other one that we already turned on. Ooh, okay. I can remember this area. This area is quite fun. Oh no, this took me... This isn't where I thought it would take me. But this is a good area too. It's saying moody, moody, impossible. Because of course we don't have any money. That's 0 down there. I don't think there's any way to get money until you have the knife. And you can ring your bell, by the way. I'm surprised I haven't been doing that before. A lot of the effects have like a secondary little Easter egg. I love the idea that you can just kind of make music as you're playing the game. I should have remembered that when I was going over the musical tiles. It's a whole other bunch of fun to be had. So here I really like the kind of stark contrast between this tree, which is quite nicely sprited and nicely shaded, and you know, it just looks like a kind of a JRPG tree. The really kind of unnatural fact that there's so many of them. Like normally there would be some variation in them, or there would be just not entirely a sea of trees. There would be kind of like paths going through it to a greater extent. And the fact that everything besides the trees is just directly black. Ooh, until you get to this road, and there's something along this road that's a little disturbing. So I think this genre gets... Oh, maybe we gotta keep going. This genre gets misaligned quite often as like a horror game, a horror genre, because kind of the more spooky aspects become the most mimetic and memorable. I like these guys a lot. These guys will show up again later. But to me, it's not inherently scary. Sometimes you do see disturbing things. And this is something that really bothered me about the remake, is that they really seem to want to make it overtly spooky instead of just, you know, kind of up to you. Like, are these things spooky? I suppose so. They seem to kind of have eyes. They look quite alien. But you know that they're not going to hurt you. Oh! Ooh, now that's interesting. And it's not that I get a scary feeling, it's just that I get a very kind of like curious feeling of like, oh. When I went back to look at it, it changed. So now I think if I go through here, yeah, it's yet another area. We get a new type of tree. Very cool. Let's go up here, I guess. This I think will take me down somewhere. Yeah, let's go for it. Or no? Oh, maybe it's the open manhole. I think somewhere else there's an open manhole. Maybe you can only exit from that one. Can I go here? No. Oh, I like this track a lot. Ah, yes, this is what I was alluding to earlier. There's this dead body here. It seems cruelly ironic that you get the traffic light from him, which looks really cute. You can turn it from red to green. Can we get through here? I don't think so. Love that sound effect. Something about the prolonged kind of sound effect that intuitively you would think something like this would just make like a beep, maybe two different tones of a beep, but instead it kind of does this whole little jingle, you know? And it's like, you can kind of picture situations where those two jingles would become like insanely familiar to you. Like perhaps you work somewhere near one of these traffic lights, and your day is just saturated with these two tones, these two little jingles. So it would be interesting, wouldn't it? It for some reason it seems to inherently carry that familiarity to it. I don't know if I can explain it very well. Anyways, we haven't gone all the way to the right in this area yet. Alright, I don't know where it will take us. Maybe it just loops indefinitely, because it looks like we're seeing the same aliens. So it could just loop forever in this mode, in this direction that is, and then we have to go backwards. So it will be something where the place that we go when we go backwards... oh no, it's this area again. So are we just stuck here? Maybe we just have to wake up. Oh, ah ha ha ha. So now, this fellow... Ah, so we've gotten into one of the most kind of infamous areas of the entire game quite quickly. This kind of monochrome, or totally black and white. Actually, the rain effect is still applying. I think that's a glitch. I don't think it should be doing that, but you can see on the blacks, the black areas, that the rain is still falling. So yeah, this is where a lot of the game's most infamous characters reside. And there's kind of some disturbing stuff. So let's explore this some more in the next episode.